fun with. What's going on, guys? Commando, and welcome to a new video on my first impressions and opinions review on the cooperation update for Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, in this video, I'm basically going to be going over, first of all, I'm going to be going over the different things that have been added, and then going over each one of them individually, and sharing my pros and cons for each of them. Now, the things that have been added is co-op, which is basically offline, like online, a group of 4 players take on an enemy team of AI with a team of AI, basically, and you basically got to capture command post, a bit like Turning Point in the original Battlefront 2015. The second one is the new planet Felucia, the new reinforcement clone Commandos, and instant action, which is basically like the first phase of capital supremacy, but solely offline. Now, co-op. The things that I liked about co-op is that it's actually a very challenging game mode, especially when you're playing with these AI, because these AI are actually really, really good. And I don't say that like anything against EA and DICE because their old AI was crap. Even they say that their old AI was crap. But these AI actually know what their objective actually is. They can use their abilities in their like vanguards and thermal grenades and stuff like that they can use to dominate you. Now, as single hostiles, the AI are not a massive threat, but when they group around an objective, especially in co-op, it's such a challenge. I went in. I've got fully maxed out Darth Maul on Xbox. Or at least I got purple star cards for Darth Maul. And I went in to try and just slaughter as many AI as I can. I got wrecked because these AI just all aim for you. Now, I was playing with a group of 4 people, so they had their AIs attacking them as well. But I just went in full force, full spin attacks, lightsaber thrown, force choke and push them away. I still just got wrecked by those AI. They're really, really good. So yeah, co-op it's a challenge, but it's a fun challenge, and it's also a really good way to rank up your classes, especially on Wednesdays, because we've got there's double XP, and even so, I'm not sure when it is actually that we're gonna have. I assume it's this weekend, but at some point there's a triple XP weekend across. I think it's all modes, or at least the co-op mode. And I'm just going to be out there just grinding, especially on PC, because PC I haven't got a lot of my heroes up to purples yet. Some of them I've nearly got up to purples, but a lot of them, but none of them have actually got up to purples yet. So I'm going to use the weekend or the triple XP event, if it is used on co-op, to just grind out a load of my heroes and try and get as many of them to purples as I can. So it's a really good way to rank up your classes, even because of how easy the AI can be to kill, especially individually, you can rank up quite quickly. So it is really good in that respect. So the cons to the co-op game mode. Now, there aren't an awful lot, but what I found was a bit stupid, and some of the cons to it, I feel like I have to say anyway. For all I say that the AI are actually really good, they can be really dumb at sometimes. Now, I know you sort of have to expect this because it is an artificial intelligence made by a computer to work like a computer, so it can't be as intelligent as a real-life player, obviously. But what I say by dumb is that they seem to be attracted to each other. They seem to just stomp about in groups, but then you get the occasional one that will come and vanguard you in the back. Maybe that isn't dumb, but the AI can be a bit stupid, and also for some reason they don't like tanks. I don't know whether that is a thing or not. And I've been playing a mod where you can get more than one hero onto the battlefield at one time, but they don't seem to like. They don't really, for some reason, seem to like playing as heroes. You only really get to see one hero on the map at a time. Maybe that's for balancing issues. I don't know, but for some reason they're only there's only one on one map or one game at a time, and they won't get in vehicles. I don't know why they won't get in vehicles, but especially as well as in instant action, they don't seem to like vehicles. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the fact that the devs couldn't engineer the AI to work with vehicles in it. I don't know. But anyway, another thing that's a bit of a pain in the bum is that it can get a bit repetitive. And I'm not saying this in a bad way, because you have to play it a lot to get it, for it to get repetitive. But the problem is that, like Capital Supremacy, and I've said this with Capital Supremacy when it came out, it's the exact same thing with every single map. What I like about Galactic Assault is, and the reason why it lasted so long, and this is the reason why I didn't like Walker Assault in Battlefront 2015 too much, is Galactic Assault. It's different between, yes, some of the bases are different, but between different planets, the way you play the game is different. The way you play, like, depending on the scenario that you're put into, you have to attune what you do based upon that scenario. They're different between each maps. With Capital Supremacy, it is very much like the only thing they change is your environment. The scenario is exactly the same. What you've got to do is exactly the same between each map. Co-op is very much like this. There's no variety in what you have to do. The only scenario is what the voice over comms tell you, like, oh, you know, we're going to strike at the heart of Geonosis, of the Separatist homeworlds, or as a Separatist, it's the Republic are trying to find medical supplies on Felucia, which got to try and stop them. Aside from the audio and verbal scenarios, the actual way you play it is not, like, different. It's exactly the same, which I can see is getting quite boring. I don't know whether they're going to add anything new, or whether they're going to add any new scenarios, but I just feel that, like, especially co-op, I'm going to get bored of it very quickly, and the only reason why I'm going to play it is to grind out my levels. That's the only reason why I think I'm going to play it. So, yeah, it's alright. It's good. It's a really good mode. I really do enjoy it, but it will get repetitive if you keep playing it consistently. Now, the next thing, and this is the last bit on the cons, and this is just a little niggly thing that I don't like, is that the overtime on the objectives that you can get if you run out of time. Why is that a thing? It's dumb. It's dumb in Galactic Assault. It's dumb in Capital Supremacy, and it's even stupid. I don't even think it's in Capital Supremacy, which is good, but it's dumb in this, and it's dumb in Galactic Assault. I don't even know why the overtime exists, because it's not overtime, because it's instant overtime. It's permanent overtime. You're there so long as you've got somebody in the objective, taking the objective, your overtime can last forever. And this is the reason why I don't like it in Galactic Assault, let's say. On the map Crate, you could be in the mine hangar, the second phase, for about half an hour while you've consistently got troops going in. And the overtime would have well gone past the half an hour mark. It's stupid. I don't understand why it's there. And if it does really need to be there, why it's not time limited. And this is exactly the same. Now, I haven't experienced a game yet where I've been on overtime for too long, because the AI are pretty aggressive. And they can punch a hole through the enemy's defenses, or the hostile defenses can hold the line quite well, long enough for overtime to not last too long. But I don't see why it's a thing. It's stupid. I don't understand it, you know. But that's just a little nitty gritty thing for me personally that I just don't like. Now on to Felucia. Now Felucia, it's a really beautifully created map. I can't lie. I looked at it and I thought, wow, like, this is really good. This is actually, like, this is the first map that I've looked at where I thought, yeah, this has got a lot of effort put into it. It's something brand new. Now, the only thing that, you know, I did think about this with Geonosis, but the only thing with Geonosis is I'd already got sick of sand planets. You know, we'd already got Tatooine, and we've got Crate, which is sort of a sand planet, even though it's a salt planet, but the same base is still there. And then we got Geonosis, which is basically another sand planet. So I basically got sick of them by then. But Felucia, it's not a sand planet. It has got sand on the floor, but it's like a wildlife. It's like a jungle. And to have it so different and diverse, it's really cool. The cover that you can make with just the surrounding trees and bushes and like wildlife and environments, it's so cool. And something they did add in that I haven't actually tried out yet. I saw this when I was watching a video on it. there is an ATTE in the environment which you can actually use. Now, when I looked at that, I looked at the video and I was like, wait, really? Is this actually a thing? So I skipped ahead in the video to where it was they were playing. And I was like, ah, right. That's going to make co-op a little bit more interesting. But it's one of those things they add in, they don't tell anybody they've added in. And to let people, like, try and find it for themselves. You know, when people realise the ATT is there, that anybody, they're going to stomp co-op. Because it is just, like, full-on force. Now, luckily, it isn't what it's... You can't play Felucia as the defending side as the Separatists, I don't believe. And even if you can, the AI don't like tanks anyway. So it's not a balancing issue. And it is a bit of a pain in capital supremacy, I can sort of see. But it's such a closed quarters map that I don't think the ATTE would make too much of a difference. But having that in the environment is actually a really cool Easter egg, and that's another thing. Easter eggs are a really, really good thing in this map, as well as every other map. But just the little things that you see just around the map. I'm not going to go into detail on what they are now. They're just like little Felucians up on top of mountains and stuff like that. It's really, really cool. But the last thing I want to just talk over with pros of Felucia is the command posts are not in a position where there's a massive stalemate. Now, there's a center point, but it's not around a command post, which I think is really cool. And I said this about, what map was it? I think it was Commando. I might have been Commando. It might have been Kashyyyk. No, it wasn't. It was Naboo. I have to go through each of them to tell. The things with capital supremacy, because it's command posts and because the maps are only a certain size, they have to spread the command posts out, and that means that a center point in the map has a command post. It's a massive stalemate. Now, I didn't like that about Geonosis, Commando, or Kashyyyk. There was a stalemate in the middle of the map where you had to fight for that. I think in Geonosis it was the top of a mountain. Kashyyyk, it was in a destroyed turbo tank. Commando, I think it's the one on one of the platforms, but I don't remember it being a massive problem. It was an issue that it was a massive stalemate on that behalf, but it wasn't massive and it wasn't a major problem. Naboo didn't have that problem. It's a little bit of a stalemate, but it wasn't too much of an issue. And this Felucia is actually really good. Now, there is a center point where everybody collates in together and there's a massive firefight, but you can't actually capture command post by being in that environment. You actually have to divert off and capture the command post. So you have to work your tactics around that, which I think is a really good, way of engineering the map. And I like that. I like the fact that, like, it's like, right, there's a massive fight going on here. That command post is taken. Right, about 3 or 4 troops go off and attack. Go off and take that command post while we distract the enemies in the center point. It's actually a really good way of doing it. Especially considering you can't capture the command post from that center area. And they are quite, yes, they're quite spread out, but they are quite close knit together as well, which I think is a really good point as well to make. Now, there isn't a lot on Felucia, if anything, that I actually don't like. The only thing that I don't like, and it's quite cool, but it's a bit of a pain at the same time, the poisonous spores can get a little annoying. Now, I haven't died by them yet, but just walking past one of the, like, plants, just as it puffs out some poisonous smoke, you know, I can see that being an issue where you're in the middle of a, not necessarily playing instant action or co-op, but being in a game of capital supremacy, and having an enemy having a hostile player shoot at you and then get finished off by one of those plants, I can see that being a little bit annoying. So they're not much of a problem in co-op and instant action, but I can see in capital supremacy where you're playing against real players, how that can be a little bit of an issue. Now, the clone commandos. Now, they are designed really, really well. I can't lie. Now, when I'm not sure if it actually was changed or not. They said, they said they would change it, but I'm not sure whether they did or not. But the actual thing itself looks generally really cool. But the diaper effect, like on the basically, if you don't know what it basically is that when the first images and gameplay of the Clone Commando had come about and were released to the public, it's pelvis armor plate was really quite big, and everybody was pointing out the fact that it looked like a diaper. Now, EA and DICE came out and said, yes, we've heard your feedback, we will change it for when the Clone Commandos release into the game. I'm not sure if they did or not. I think they might have changed it slightly, but it still looks quite diaperish, you know. And I'm not saying that in a bad light, because the Clone Commandos look really, really cool. They look really, really cool. And they do look really, like, awesome. But it just, I don't know whether they actually changed that or not. And if they did, they didn't change it enough. It should be a bit smaller. There's even a mod. To actually, so you can choose the sizing of the pelvis plate to make it smaller or larger depending on your personal preference. So I don't know whether they actually changed it or not. I assume they did, but not enough in my opinion. Now, the next thing is that the anti-vehicle modification to your weapon, which is one of your abilities, is so good. I can't lie. I can't remember how many times I've used that. Now, the only thing I would say to EA and DICE, I'm not sure if this is actually how it works in the actual online aspect of it, but it recharges a little bit too quickly. I think if I was to give EA and DICE a little bit of the DICE developers a little bit of pointer with that, the only thing I would really say is that anti-vehicle modification ability needs to have its cooldown reduced a little bit. That's only because I can go on massive kill streaks, because it takes like 10 seconds for that thing to recharge. I go on massive kill streaks just with that anti-vehicle modification because of how quickly it recharges. Increased by another 10 seconds, it'd be perfect. But it's so OP that, like, it's really good with large groups of droids. Now, I haven't tested it on a vehicle yet because I haven't had the chance to, because I've been consistently playing co-op and instant action. I haven't jumped into an online game and tested it yet. But it's really good with large groups of droids. Again, like I said on Felucia, the center point, everybody just groups about, and you can literally stand on top of a ledge or on top of one of the built Felucian homes. Stand on top of the Felucia homes and just fire your 3 grenades at them, to a group of droids, and you can just kill them all. Just, like, wipe them out. It's such a really good modification. Now, I'm not sure if it would work so well in, like, against human players, because human players wouldn't be so stupid enough to group together. But I think it's a really good ability, and something that would be more useful against tanks in Galactic Assault or Capital Supremacy than it would be as useful against infantry in instant action and co-op. Now, the only cons to this. Now, the first point I put down because that's what I thought at the time, but I've sort of like gotten used to it now. And it's sort of like an invalid point, but it does take a while to get used to the Clone Commandos. Now, the only reason why I say this is because it doesn't have a normal charge system like the other units do. It's more of a reload. So instead of your heat bar going up, so you overheat your weapon, you have to wait for it to cool down. The bar goes down as if it's ammunition. Very much a reference to the it's Republic Commando. Very much a reference to that, where they're actually using laser bullets rather than charged weapons, which I think is a cool touch, but it does take a while to get used to, and you have to, because it does take slightly a bit longer, you do have to work your way around that and just make sure you find enough cover to reload without getting shot by enemies. Because most of my deaths when I was first playing it mainly came from the fact of me trying to dodge while reloading. So it does take a bit of a while to get used to, but once you get used to it, it's really good. Now, the only major problem I have with Clone Commandos is that the other 2 abilities, the anti-vehicle one is really, really good, but the other 2 abilities, I think it's the pushback ability and it's like a harden up ability. They're pretty much useless. Now, the harden up ability is pretty much useless. I can see where the pushback ability, the pulse thing, is. I can't remember what it's called, but I can see where that could be useful, especially against heroes in online. But the problem is I'm very like ranged weapon. I joke. The only time I would actually go in is if like in close, as if I was playing as an assault my vanguard or chucking grenades. And even then, I'm still quite far away to chuck my grenades. But that ability is very much like focused on close quarters combat, and it's not exactly my cup of tea because I don't like close quarters combat. Now, that's just me. Somebody who does enjoy being quite like intimate with the battle, like right in there, would find that a bit more useful, but for me, I don't find it very useful. But the harden up ability, I've yet to find the use for it. I've activated it a couple of times, and I'm yet to see what the actual effect of it is. I don't know what it does. Maybe it's damage reduction. I don't know. I might read up on it a bit once I finish doing this audio, but I don't know. I'm yet to see the impact of using that tool. So, yeah. Again, there's not a lot of constant clone commanders, but that one especially is the one that I noticed quite a lot while I was playing it. Now, instant action. Now, a lot of this is basically the pros are mainly the same as as co-op. So, challenging AI being smart. It's a good way to rank up your class, except for that one because you can't actually rank up. Well, you can sort of, but especially with heroes, if you can get like a multi-kill, it does push your ranking up ever so slightly. You can glitch the system in that way. It's not meant to, because the idea is when you get a kill, it boosts your XP level up and then it kicks it back down again. But if you get like a multi-kill, let's say with Anakin Skywalker, let's say you get like a 5 kill streak, it'll boost it up enough and then it'll like half cut it down. So you are still getting a bit of XP, but it's not consistent. And you can sort of glitch the system a bit in that way, but it's not, you can't really do it. But the pros, aside from the challenge AI and the AI being smart, it's more enjoyable than I actually first thought. Now, when I saw it came out, I was watching it on Gamescom, I think. Or whenever it was first released. I think it was Gamescom. It's either Gamescom or E3. But I was watching it and I thought, it doesn't look that interesting. It's basically just like capture command post, first one to 100 points wins. That's basically what I thought about it. However, when I got into the game, now I knew I needed to test it because I wanted to see if I was right in my assumption. How wrong was I? It is so good. Now, when I played it, I didn't actually realise how close it was actually going to be to the Conquest mode in Battlefront 2. In the 2005 Battlefront 2. Now, I played that for ages. I got hours and hours on that game. I've still got the disc. It's on my shelf as like a memorabilia collection set. And I got hours on that game. Thousands of hours. It's such a good game. But I didn't realise how much that mode was going to be similar to the one in the classic game. I had so much fun with playing it. It's so good. You know, it's basically just the first phase of capital supremacy with AI, basically. But it's so good because the AI are really intelligent, and that adds to the immersion. And the fact that you've got AI heroes and all of this, you know, you never got that in 2005 Battlefront 2 because there weren't any. You couldn't do it. But the fact that you can have hostile AI, you can have hostile reinforcements, you can be fighting up against a super battle droid. I don't know why they won't spawn as droid eaters, which is another point that I don't quite know why, but you can be facing off against a load of droids and about five super battle droids. You know, it's so good and it's so immersive that like it's so much better than I thought it was going to be. And because of this, because of instant action, especially now being in the game, the modding opportunities are endless. Now, people are already on these mods. Already, Nexus Mods, which is the main mod place for Battlefront 2, it's just filled up right to the brim with mods that you can download. Mainly just clone Commando mods, aside from the updated arcade mods, which I have been testing around, and they are actually pretty cool with instant action. But with Battlefront 2015, most of the mods were focused on the Conquest mode in the instant action. That's the main basis where a lot of the mods are like been recreated and have been like made, is with that instant action mode. Now that instant action is in this game, the mod opportunities can be endless, especially give it a few months for modders to actually input mods and create them. It's gonna be a party. You know, and now that we've got people who can like edit instant action, because you can do as much as you want with instant action because it's completely offline, and you can have like modifications to the classes and modifications to the heroes because it's all offline and the servers don't pick it up. So anything like that. You can actually change, you'll be able to change the maps. You can make your own maps and insert it into instant action, because the servers won't pick it up as cheating because it's offline. You can play it offline and be perfectly fine. So the modern opportunities are endless, and if anybody does make any maps or anything related to instant action that I think I can, that would make a good video to review, I'll definitely set and review them, because a lot of them is just like cosmetics and like new like appearances, which is a bit stupid. But now that we've got instant action, I do personally believe that this is where the modern community is going to absolutely shine. So anyway, the cons to instant action are basically the same as the cons for co-op. The AI can be a bit dumb and get a bit repetitive, not necessarily over time, but that is mainly just the same as the co-op. So anyway, that is my review for the Corporation update. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy, don't forget to smash that like button and hit that subscribe button for more awesome gaming content. And I shall see you all later. Bye!